Alright, so I'm gonna put on the screen a couple of people that you guys have said that I look like. I get it. Yes, I do. Let's get on to the video. Howdy y'all, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you guys are safe and I hope you guys are healthy. My name is Josh and I absolutely love clothing and personal style. So if you're into that type of content, feel free to subscribe to me here on YouTube as well as follow me on Instagram at where's_Galdo. Today, I'm wearing another hat. This says Balenciaga. Is it a Balenciaga hat? No, it is a bootleg from Goodwill. But I'm gonna wear it nonetheless because I don't own anything from Balenciaga and we're talking about Balenciaga. Kind of. Mostly. As I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen, I know everybody seems to be talking about right now, including me, is going to be that Demna of Balenciaga is going to Gucci, and that's a huge, huge change because I don't know how to say his full name properly, but I'm going to go ahead and just call him Demna for now. Demna is, in my eyes, synonymous with Balenciaga at this point. Demna has been with Balenciaga for 10 years, from 2015 to 2025, and has absolutely overhauled Balenciaga as a brand and has done so very successfully. The numbers from Balenciaga are absolutely through the roof in comparison to what they were prior to, and I wanted to take a little bit of a retrospective look at Balenciaga, or well, at Demna's work at Balenciaga, and maybe that'll give you some insight into what he may or may not do at Gucci. So very quickly, let's go over some early points in Demna's career. Demna is a Georgian fashion designer who graduated with a master's degree in fashion in 2006 from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp. If you know that school, it is also where the famous Antwerp Six came from, and one of the Antwerp Six Demna has worked very closely with, and that's Walter van Beirendonck. Walter van Beirendonck, for a time, I don't know if he still does, but for a time was a professor at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts, and after Demna graduated, helped Walter van Beirendonck on some menswear collections in around 2006. The next, I guess, big milestone in Demna's career is going to be 2009 to 2013, where Demna actually worked at Margiela helping design women's wear. In and around 2014 is when Demna and his brother decided to start the brand Vetements. If you don't know Vetements, super huge, really, really popular. I'd be surprised if you didn't hear of Vetements. And they started it in 2014, where right off the bat was just incredibly popular. Well, Vetements did so well that after only designing 3 collections, Demna was then appointed at Balenciaga to be their creative director, and that's absolutely insane. I mean, yes, Demna has prior work and a prior, I guess, like resume of things that he has worked on. However, only creating his brand, doing 3 collections, and immediately becoming creative director of an absolutely giant luxury brand is insane. But honestly, it is exactly what Balenciaga needed. The creative director of Balenciaga prior to Demna was Alexander Wang from 2013 to 2015, and I hope that's the last time I ever have to mention Alexander Wang on my channel. But prior to that, it was Nicolas Ghesquière for 15 years. Nicolas Ghesquière was creative director from 97 to 2012. So why do I say that Demna for Balenciaga is one of the best decisions that they've ever made? Well, after Demna became creative director of Balenciaga, over time, revenue skyrocketed, increased exponentially, and became, well, Balenciaga became like a household name for anybody who cared about fashion. I mean, prior to Demna's presence in Balenciaga, it was, yeah, a really like well-loved and high-end brand, but Balenciaga took on a different identity with Demna, and the way that Demna designs and presents collections was definitely completely new to the brand, and I think that Demna does a really, really good job at like presenting ironic fashion, but also exaggeration, almost a caricature of fashion sometimes. And we'll go through like the years of collections, and I'm gonna show you guys some of like my favorite like moments or qualities about Demna's Balenciaga. Little disclaimer, most of these pictures that I'm going to be showing you guys are from Vogue Runway, and if you guys don't already have Vogue Runway as an app on your phone, I highly suggest it to anyone who's like a fashion lover, just because they have a really good archive of runway shows, campaigns, and just overall images from many, many different brands, mostly like commercial luxury brands, but it is really nice to have. So Vogue Runway, it's not a sponsor. So the first image that I wanted to show you guys is actually from One of Alexander Wang's last collections with Balenciaga. As you can see, it's not bad, but it doesn't stand out. It's a little boring. It's a little sterile, in my opinion. And there's just not a lot of life behind these looks, really, at all. And then moving on, and the next photo I'm going to be showing you guys is going to be from spring 2016, once Demna kind of fully just takes on Balenciaga, and you can see the vibe is entirely different. The colors that are kind of like emphasized here are a lot more earthy and brown and almost like dingy in the background, almost military and utility inspired, but you can see that there is just an overall change in both formality and overall design. The next, I would say, like important like milestone for like this evolution of Balenciaga is going to be in 2017. Going back to like the looks, this is, I think, the best representation of Demna really kind of taking hold of the design process at Balenciaga. As you can see, they still have the formality and tailoring of this gigantic structured blazer, but it is exaggerated. It is presented wildly with, like, you know, assuming shorts underneath and really tall boots. It was a subversive, interesting take on something that Balenciaga was used to doing in the past, which is like a lot of tailoring and formal wear. Well, also in 2017, they introduced probably one of the most iconic shoes of all time, and that is going to be the Balenciaga Triple S. This is my girlfriend's pair. Really, really, really groundbreaking shoe. At the time, in about 2017, sneaker culture was kind of at its height. So people were really into streetwear, and this shoe bridged the gap between streetwear and luxury. It was really, really, really cool to see. And to better illustrate how included that I felt in this moment of fashion was, at the time in 2017, I was super into sneakers. I was a collector. I don't remember if that was kind of the years that I worked at a sneaker store, but I loved sneakers, Nike sneakers, Jordans, runners from Asics, all these things. And all these things, I started to go in the direction of fashion. While seeing this made by Balenciaga somehow internally made me think that, like, if I can participate in sneaker culture, then low-key I can also try and participate in luxury fashion culture as well. And that was kind of just my bridge to get into what exactly was the high fashion or commercial fashion, whatever you want to call it, world. And that was huge for a lot of people. Then moving on to Balenciaga Spring 2018 menswear. This is where the backgrounds and locations of these fashion shows are starting to change a little bit. This one was outside. This one was one of the wildest looks to me because we're looking at 3 different levels and layers of pants. We're looking at very vibrant, but also really like well constructed, looks really, really interesting. And I can't say that I love this look, but it was definitely just kind of a game changer. One look that I really wanted to reference is in the fall of 2018, where this woman walked out with this coat. It was beautiful. It is this kind of like square pattern, but has a very particular shape and tailoring. So obviously the blazer or coat has very structured shoulders, very stiff. It tapers down towards the hips, and obviously you see this like divot outward. It is such a fascinating way to accentuate the shape, the, you know, more feminine body shape, but at the same time still being very within the same design language as Demna is wanting to push here, where the pattern itself of the clothes is like very gridded in nature, but the shape of the clothes, the silhouette of the clothes kind of puts on and takes on its own personality. This next look from fall 2018 is going to be another one that I think is very, very, very important. This is kind of like the start of the heavy layering. And like these jackets aren't just multiple jackets piled on top of each other. These are artificial layers made to look like you're just putting on a ton of jackets, albeit they're still very heavy and still, I've tried one on before in a store, super, super warm and super heavy. But this is another like period where you know what? I think 2017, 2018 is going to be Balenciaga's most progressive years, where they pushed their designs outside of the scope of what they usually do. And then the following years, then just kind of tried their best to do something wild each and every year. Fast forward it to spring of 2020, and then you see qualities that he has applied in the past to different garments. And what I mean by that is this giant puffer right here is going to have basically the shoulder structuring, the exaggerated shoulder structuring of the tailoring that they've done in the past, but applied to a puffer jacket, which is usually very like not form fitting, but like isn't as structured as they usually see it. This is also where they introduced the Tyrex sneaker, which is one of my favorite Balenciaga sneakers. I don't have a pair. I really would like a pair in the future, but these are like square toe, lower profile shoes from Balenciaga. Balenciaga always does like a crazy large silhouetted shoe. After the Triple S, there was like the Defenders. The track sneaker was also another really popular one. But moving on from that look, spring 2020, they also started to incorporate this like motocross type of like look. So they had a lot of really cool motocross, Balenciaga branded motocross stuff, jackets, pants, shoes. The motocross shoes are sick. The motocross boots are one of my favorites from Balenciaga as well. In the fall of 2020 is when they did a lot of looks that were very monochromatic and very like honestly like Matrix-esque. They looked really cool. A lot of leather, a lot of like rubber. This look that I'm going to be showing you guys now, like this entire coat is made of this like rubberized material, which looks really cool, gives a completely different sheen, and it gives a completely different vibe from the past more playful stuff. 2021. This is where we go back to the playful stuff, and not only that, but they are also just throwing together some of the craziest things. There's distressed pants that also have like knight's armor underneath. I have honestly never seen that before anywhere else, and I thought it was so cool conceptually. Probably not the most practical thing in the world, but conceptually it looked visually stunning. And you can see the backgrounds getting a lot more playful, a lot more weird and like digital agey. And then this is also the year 2021 where they did the shirts and pants that have just other garments sewn to the front or the back of it. And again, things that just not necessarily don't make sense, but are just so weird and different. 2022. Very, very interesting year for Balenciaga. They did this show in fall 2022 where it was basically models walking through a simulated like snowstorm. Also really interesting, like you could hardly, especially in these pictures, you can really hardly see the clothes, but it's like almost not about the clothes. They came out with this bag that was modeled after a trash bag, which was so interesting. Again, another subversive, bringing luxury to a non-luxury item, which is Balenciaga is really, really good at. And then in let's see, Resort 2023, they did their show in like the New York Stock Exchange, the last place you would think to find a fashion show. Spring 2023 is going to be when Balenciaga did the show where everything was covered in mud and these models were walking through, getting everything absolutely disgusting and dirty with this mud. Another subversive example I did really appreciate in pre-fall 2023 when they put out this photo campaign where it literally looks like people just trying on Balenciaga clothing and just taking a picture in like the dressing room of a place, of a Balenciaga store. I thought that was nice, cheeky, and like it takes away a lot of like the grandioseness of the prior shows. It's fun and playful. And then comes the pre-fall show 2024. This stuff I think is really nice. I mean, like it continues to run with the like heavy layering, the oversized exaggeratedness. Like I just keep continuing to use like the same words for these shows. It is like a caricature of fashion. It looks cartoonish. It looks really weird, but the setting for this show was really cool because it was literally just like, I don't know what street it is in LA, but the Hollywood sign is in the background. It just like, it's very California luxury. It's just really interesting. I need to find new words to describe these things because I'm just describing them all the same. But honestly, if it's the same designer, the same brand, I am going to be using the same words over and over again. Another product that I really wanted to highlight that they did fairly recently, I think within the last year or so, is a bag that they did. And it literally is a leather bag. It looks like a bag of chips. It is a bag of chips, made of leather with a zipper at the top. It looks so goofy. Balenciaga is really, really good at making high-end luxury things goofy, injecting this fun into this stuff, and I love to see it, honestly. Now, I know a really good number of people are actually very tired of this like high fashion irony and hyper commercialism and all this stuff. It's like, I think conceptually it is fun, but it is definitely a tired trope as of now. I mean, we've had a very like long time with this type of like concept. I mean, I can imagine the first example of this like hyper commercialism and goofiness in fashion that I'm aware of is going to be with like Jeremy Scott's designs. Definitely really outlandish, really weird, really goofy. But I like Demna's version of it a lot better than I did Jeremy Scott's back in the day. Now, after taking a look at all of this Balenciaga, does this give us anything at all? Any hints as to how Gucci is going to go? I don't think so. I think Demna is such a versatile and just wild individual that it's really hard to predict exactly what's going to be happening with Gucci in the coming years. I'm very excited to see it, very fascinated to see it, and I really hope it's not going to be the same as what he did for Balenciaga. I would rather a creative director be able to apply the concepts, ideas, and virtues of a brand to their image as opposed to just do the same exact thing that he did at Balenciaga. I mean, like, I think a prime example is going to be Eddie Slimane. Eddie Slimane, like, as much as I absolutely adored what he did at Saint Laurent, after going to Celine, did pretty much the same exact thing, and in my opinion, it's kind of boring. And I just always want fashion to be kind of fun. But that is just my opinion. I am curious to see what you guys think is going to happen and what direction Gucci is going to take. I think it's much needed. I don't know if I'm going to like what's going to happen because I already don't love Gucci. And I don't know a lot about Gucci, so I may be wrong about this, but Gucci, in my eyes, is synonymous with gaudy. But if they take it and run with it, I don't know. We'll see. Demna has a very, very big, daunting task ahead of him, but it isn't impossible because Demna did already collaborate with Gucci at Balenciaga. We'll see. I'm not sure. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I do definitely think that it's going to be interesting and fun. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I appreciate your guys' time, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.